Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your July soul session. I'm Princess India. If you're new, did I say soul session? I'm in connection session. I'm Princess India. If you're new, if you're family, welcome back, my friend. Speaking of soul sessions, because I missed you guys' connection sessions in June because my grandmother passed away, I went ahead and started the month with connection sessions. So the soul sessions are going to be out at the midpoint of the month. So with this, we're going to be looking at you guys as well as a person of interest, and then getting into a more specific spread where we're going to be looking at how your person of interest thinks and feels about you. So the first card out representing you guys in the month of July, we have the Knight of Wands. So what is looking like, Aquarius, you guys in the month of July, you guys are being impulsive, not necessarily in a negative way, but in the sense that you're kind of just following your passions, like whatever feels right, you're kind of, jumping in head first, you know what I'm saying? And just really going with the flow of things, in so many words. But I do want to give a heads up with that, to make sure that, you're conscious about what it is that you're jumping headfirst into. You don't want to leap before you look. You want to be a little grounded, a little rational about it. But overall, I do feel that it is a good thing that you're allowing yourself to kind of, go with what feels right, go with what is in alignment with you, or even in the context in reference to a person of interest of what feels right, and you spur it, just going with it because it feels right. But just be aware of the consequences whenever we partake in things such as that, right? Now, your person of interest, okie dokie, it's a lot going on there. We have the Tower card. Let's see if I cover up my eye. Okay. We have the Tower card. It's a lot going on there. And that is Scorpio energy. So with your person of interest, they're going through some things right now. I'll find out more about it in their more specific spread, but a false foundation that they were standing on, or a stronghold in their mind, a perception that they've had on life about themselves. It could potentially be a wounding from past tense that caused this person to have a lot of guards and a lot of walls up. At present, that's kind of crumbling for them. Now, the thing that I will say, and we'll get more into that when I turn over this energy between you card, but what I would say, to be kind of cautious of this, Aquarius, because if you guys are kind of in a free-spirited, fun and fancy-free kind of energy, and this person, I don't want to say that they're like in rebound energy, but that's the first thing that came to my mind of what this feels like. To like, even like, say if this person just recently got divorced or something, it's like them being in this energy where, they got out of something or something fell apart, and kind of how they're coping is mimicking an energy that's similar to yours. Now, mind you, I don't know why Aquarius is in this energy of, being free spirited, but I think it's mindful. It would behoove you guys to be mindful of the why this person is on your same wavelength, right? So it's like if the two of you kind of cross paths and it's just like, no strings attached, like, let's just see where this goes, let's just enjoy ourselves, and y'all both are kind of on that, same kind of vibe, it's important to know how this person got here. Because if you guys being in this energy isn't because of a tower you just came out of, then that kind of puts you in two different spaces. Because I feel for this particular person, this may be like, this is going to kind of dim down for them eventually because it's coping. That's why, like, I say rebound, because that's a good example. Not saying that this person is on the rebound, but it's a good example of what that energy signature feels like. You've been in a relationship for a long time, you and the person break up, and it's like, you go fraternize with new people and stuff like that because you've been, locked down with one person for an extended period. Now, the energy between the two of you, interesting. That's interesting. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Let me cover up my eye. Come on, dagnabbit. Come on, autofocus. Okay, we have the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. So there isn't really an investment. Now, here's the thing. This could be the case to where Aquarius, like say, if you guys aren't looking for anything serious, and if this person is kind of like in a rebound kind of energy, it could be y'all are on the same wavelength to where Aquarius wouldn't even care. Like if this person was rebounding, you really wouldn't care one way or the other, because with this Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, neither one of you are really too invested in it. You know what I'm saying? Like neither one of you are really investing anything of like worth or longevity to it. It's just kind of like, you know, a good time type of vibe that I would get from this. But like I said, I don't know your business, Aquarius, but my thing is, if there's any inkling other than you just having, you know, a good time type of thing, like this person just being like a good time Charlie type of vibe, I feel like that's something you need to be kind of cautious about going into this, you know. But how it's looking for me, this kind of looks like a hookup situation, or like a situation. I wouldn't even say situationship. This would literally just be like a hookup type of situation, because there's no investment from either of you. Because I feel like with a situationship, at least there's one person at least that has some sort of investment. Like to one person in a situationship, they perceive it to be like a relationship. You know what I'm saying? But with this, I don't see that at all. It's like on both sides, there's no investment. Interesting. So getting into how your person of interest thinks and feels about you, that's fascinating. I don't think I've ever had a reading show up where it's just like a hookup situation. That's fascinating. But I mean, if it would show up, then that would say to me that potentially, even if Aquarius is in denial of it, there's some type of feelings that are there, even if you wouldn't admit it to yourself. But that wouldn't be coming up here, because this reading is not about you. It is about your person of interest. But anyway, moving right along. First card for them in their fleeting thoughts. We have the, wait, cover up these boots. We have the Six of Pentacles. Then we have the Six of Cups in the reverse. Interesting. Then we, good God, we have, interesting, the Queen of Pentacles. And then in their conscious thoughts, we have the Seven of Cups. I'm not really a fan of this. Okay, what this is looking like, Aquarius. Okay, so your person of interest feels like you guys have an understanding with the Six of Pentacles, like it's an equal give and take in this connection. So if this is just like a hookup type of thing, their perception of you is that you understand, like, this is what we do. Like, you come over or I come over, we smash, you go on about your business, I go on about mine. You don't expect anything from me, I don't expect anything from you. Like, this is the understanding that we have. However, with this Six of Cups in the reverse in relation to this Six of Pentacles, this person's thought is that you're still potentially like butthurt about something that happened in your past. So let me put this in more of like a story context to make that make sense. Well, not like a full story, but more or less a scenario. So kind of like if you were like super, super in love with someone, and like, I don't know, like you were married to this person for like 10 years, and then you found out like they had like a kid on the side or something like that, right? This person's perception of you would be that you've warded off all commitment and all relationships because of you being so hurt over this particular thing. But whenever a person like kind of shifts who and how they are, like you were a person who was all about marriage and commitment and kids prior to this, but you're like anti that now because of that, that carries the energy into the present. So this person feels you guys have a good thing going right now, like for what it is, but there's still a level of caution because you're not the type of person or at least from their perception. They don't see you as the type of perfect. Yeah, that's very interesting. They don't see you as the type of person who typically would be a hookup kind of person, right? So it's like them knowing that's not inherently who and how you are. They just feel that you got this way because you got hurt in the past. So you being no strings attached is a byproduct of you being hurt past tense, as opposed to it being like a personality trait type of thing. Now, and the thing I said that's interesting with that, as I'm getting that, I'm like thinking back to this tower, and I'm like, that's the pot calling the kettle black, because what I see for this person, where is that they are, is a byproduct of what it is that they went through. But the impression that I'm getting now is kind of like they've always been like this, like they've kind of always been a no strings attached person. So even if they were in a relationship, and this is the theme for like all of the people of interest this month, it's like every single sign has been dealing or is dealing with a person who like fears vulnerability and really opening up. It's like all these people have the illusion thereof of like opening up fully, but they're really not. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're doing a really good job of putting up this veneer of it. So like with your person of interest, how I would see this energy signature playing out is like, this is a person who was like a playboy their whole life, never committed to anyone. Then somewhere, I don't know, in their 30s, they decided to like marry someone, which shocked everyone because people thought this person would never get married. And then now they're divorced, right? And now they're dealing with Aquarius. But the context that I'm getting about, like, hypothetically, when this person was married, they were still not emotionally invested. So they were literally married, went through a wedding, all of the things, right? But they still weren't fully open to the partner, and the same behavior that they exhibited as like a single person, it's like them having buku side chicks and side dudes while they were married, and like the partner getting tired of it, them being devastated, like, how dare you leave me, and being like, oh, you know, well, I'm going to the streets now. And it's like, well, technically this whole time you've kind of been in the streets, right? Like before you were married, while you were married, and after. You feel what I'm saying? And that would be the difference in contrast between this person and Aquarius. Aquarius, and this again is their perception of you. I wouldn't necessarily think they would categorize themselves that way, but you know, like as seeing themselves as always being the same person, but whatever. But it's them seeing Aquarius as this isn't really who you are, but that doesn't really matter to them because the type of situation you guys have going on that works for them, you know? And with this Queen of Pentacles here, it's them seeing you as like, and this is going to be a weird thing for me to say with the Queen of Pentacles, because I don't see her in like masculine energy, but that's what I'm picking up intuitively with this. But and why I say masculine energy is because the attributes of her that are being highlighted to me are those of her being about her business. So this would be like someone who's like, oh, you know, I don't really have time for relationships. I'm really focused on school, really focused on my career. You know, I really don't have time for something serious right now, trying to build this business, you know, trying to pay off my student loans, trying to build up my bank account, whatever the case. Like that's the presentation that Aquarius would be giving to this person. So that kind of helps up for where it is that they perceive that you're at. It's like, yeah, you know, Aquarius got hurt in the past by someone probably. So, you know, with them being so hurt over that, they decided to not like commit anymore. So, and then also this is like a super career minded person, and they're saying they don't have time for relationships. So this is like a prime candidate for like a hookup, right? Because she's not looking for anything serious. So this is an ideal person for this, right? So, and where I say that's tricky, because Aquarius, if this really isn't you, this ends up becoming a problem because we can't change who we are inherently. Like if deep down inside you really want a partner, you really want a partnership, you really want to be, I don't know, in a a lifelong partnership, or you want to be married or whatever, but you've got kind of influenced by the culture of society today, or think that that's what dudes want to hear, and think that if you present yourself that way, that like, you know, a dude's gonna be like, oh wow, like she's not needy, like, oh my gosh, definitely want to be with someone like her, we could definitely be a power couple. Like if that's your perception going into stuff like this, I can tell you, you are going to be definitely disappointed, because if I've learned nothing else about men in my career, and this is literally from the horse's mouth, and I was flabbergasted the many times that I've heard this, of guys telling me how simple they are, right? And guys telling me that with women, if a woman comes off as like the super career driven, super independent, like, you know, I don't care about titles, I don't care about marriage type of thing, they feel like this is a chick who is not emotionally invested and self-sufficient, to where that's someone that you could just sleep with, right? And it's an understanding on both sides. So they don't ever really expect you to like catch feels or anything like that, because their perception is like you're more or less like behaving like a guy does, right? So it's like, you know, you can compartmentalize it, like we smash, we get up, we move on with our lives. You don't expect phone calls from me, don't expect me to buy you nothing on Valentine's Day, you don't expect me to take you anywhere, because the understanding that we have is we just sleep together, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And it's possible for that to be the case, you know, because I know some Aquarius women where that's very much the case for them, where it's literally no desire for like marriage. And even like my best friend that's a dude is an Aquarius, and that's pretty much his mentality. Like for him, he does not see himself being married or anything. Like that's like pointless to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's possible to be that way, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of like I'm saying, with where this person is coming from, your person of interest would fall into that category of someone who's really like that and isn't like that because of them being hurt. Because if you're like that from being hurt, you're just trying to self-protect, right? And if you're doing that to self-protect, you're ultimately going to get hurt in the long run, because there's going to be a person that you catch feelings for and you want it to be something, and it ain't never going to be that, right? Because it was on false pretenses. You know what I'm saying? And with this 7 of Cups, in their conscious thoughts of how they're seeing you, it's almost as if they feel like they're seeing you better than you see yourself, right? And not in like a narcissistic kind of way, but in the context of like you being oblivious to the truth of who you are. It's like them seeing that like you're talking all the yang about you being this, you know, business career focused person. I'm not worried about that. No strings attached. I just want something really superficial, da 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 da. But it's them seeing like you're kind of believing your own hype. You know what I'm saying? And them like, oh, they're just hurt. But that's not anything that would garner any sort of like sympathy type of thing, because of the 6 of Pentacles of like, this is working for me. It's like, I'm aware that this person is saying that they don't want anything serious because they were hurt, but that's neither here nor there to me, because I'm okay with what it is that we got going on. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have much of a vested interest in like, oh my gosh, like they were hurt, like let me show them something different. It's just, you know, kind of like a convenience thing. But them knowing that's not really how you are, but them seeing you from this perspective that you're oblivious to the fact that that's not how you really are. It's almost like you're playing pretend, and they're aware that you're playing pretend, and they're taking advantage of the fact that you're playing pretend, but they're aware of that. You know what I'm saying? So that would kind of cause this person to not deal with you. But I think there may be like a level of caution, because it's almost their expectation is like, eventually you're probably gonna end up catching feelings. So them being kind of touch and go, you know what I mean? be cautious of that, Aquarius, because that, like, situations like that could turn out bad. And I like when I see stuff like that play out, it's so jacked up because a person can be hurt and like express to the person that they're hurt, and the person is like nonchalant, like, you knew what this was. You know what I'm saying? I never made any promises to you. You know what I'm saying? And then you feel like the person's like super heartless, like, how could you not know? And it's just like, because it was what it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? No one told you to like catch feelings. And that sounds hella like crass. But when you're dealing with a person like this, that's like inherent to their personality. Like, that's not shocking. It's like they don't have any compassion or anything like that for your, you know, feelings. Like, that would be more in a reciprocal relationship type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. The best way that I describe stuff like this, I always tell people you have to look back at your life. And I don't know about all you guys' dating experience, but if there's ever been a person who has liked you more than you like them, like you just really were not into the person, you tried everything to get the person to see like you're really not that interested in them. And if this person had like a whole kind of breakdown and is just like, you know, why don't you want to be with me? I've done all of this, and you're just like, ew, like, you know, them like, you know, being all snot cryy or clingy and stuff, like it just grosses you out because you're just like, oh my gosh, like it wasn't that serious. Like, calm down. Like, why are you doing the most? It's like, if you've ever felt like that with someone, that's that in the reverse. So I always tell like a lot of my clients, like, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. It's very easy to say like, oh my gosh, they're so horrible. I would never do anything like that. But if you've ever been on the other side of it to where you just were not invested in this person at all, and they were super invested and you were totally creeped out by them being like so devastated, it's like the same thing on the other side. You feel what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you'd have to kind of be honest with yourself to understand this. But before it ever gets to that point, Aquarius, why I feel that this reading is coming up like this is for you to have a reality check with yourself before it even gets to this point, unless you seriously wholeheartedly have always been like never ever wanting, I forgot what the word for that is. Is it asexual? I think it is asexual, if I'm not mistaken, where, you know, you have zero desire to have an emotional romantic connection with anyone for any reason, and you've never really had any desire for that. Like, if that's the case, then disregard everything I'm saying. But if you know for sure, Aquarius, that, you know, you are where you are because you got hurt in the past, you just want to be mindful to protect your own heart. Now, with their subconscious impression / projection, interesting, we have the 10 of Swords in the reverse. So this is a projection. So with your person of interest, this is funny. Your person of interest, they have been hurt. They would be exactly in the same boat as you, depending on if you're actually in this boat. Because like I said, you could just be an asexual person who has no desire for any type of connection. But then again, asexual, don't people who are asexual not want to have sex? I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I read an article about this, but it was like a year or something ago. But I think like asexual people don't have a desire to have sex either. Like, it's not wanting any type of romantical connection at all, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, with this particular person, they have been hurt past tense and they have not let that go. So the funny thing with this is, and this came out this way for like 2 people prior to you guys. I think it was Leo and Gemini. But their fleeting thoughts and their conscious thoughts in reference to you is very much heightened by their projection energy. So it's them not even acknowledging in themselves that they have been hurt past tense, and how it is that they are is a byproduct of them being hurt. So if Aquarius is, let's just say, asexual, right? And you really have no desire for commitment whatsoever, right? And you've always been like that, then this person is totally projecting their own pain onto you and not seeing that you authentically want zero connection, right? And even the same, if you guys have been hurt past tense It's just a coincidence that you guys end up being in the same boat. So they don't have any deep, intuitive insight into you as a person. They're literally just projecting themselves onto you. They're seeing very much their own narrative on you guys, in so many words. But everything that I described in their fleeting and conscious thoughts is the truth about them. So they're delulu. They're not seeing the truth of themselves. They're not seeing that it's actually their own hurt and fear of being hurt again that keeps them in this very superficial, the only thing that we're doing is sleeping together type of thing. Because going any deeper than that puts them in a position to where they're vulnerable to being hurt again, right? So that's interesting. Their feelings towards you, oh my goodness. We have the Queen of Chalices. A lot of these same cards keep popping up for people. We have the Queen of Chalices. So with this person, and I'm gonna forewarn y'all about this too, they feel like you are very nurturing. You are like a shoulder to cry on. Like you're a person that could be a support system for them. Why I would forewarn you about this, Aquarius, is because you could easily get set up for the okie doke. And this would not be for my asexual Aquarius people. This would be for my Aquarius people that are very similar to your person of interest, to where you've been hurt in the past, because I feel where wires can get crossed and you could misconstrue the situation you guys have going on is if this person starts depending on you for stuff. So they have a hard day at work and they're like now calling you to listen to them, or they're lonely. So they, invite you over to eat dinner, or, to watch movies with them, or, they never asked you to like go outside with them before. And they start inviting you to like go get drinks and stuff like that. And they start telling you about their childhood and their relationship with their parents and stuff like that, right? It's like the Queen of Cups to me is the therapist card, right? But you end up getting put like in this friend zone kind of energy where not only are y'all smashing, right? But now you end up becoming like their emotional tampon in a sense. So it's like you're the wise counsel. You're the person who listens, gives them guidance, support. When they're doubting themselves, you're telling them, you can do it, like, da, 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 da. And you end up misconstruing because they come to you for that stuff. You think that now this connection is starting to graduate out of it just being a hookup. And it's like it's actually growing into something, right? But the thing I can tell you is that it's not, because with this person, they're very clear on what they're doing and what they want. And it's kind of like whatever you allow, they'll do. So if you become like this person's, proverbial therapist, right? Like if you allow them to do that, they will do that. But that doesn't mean that they're starting to open up to you or care about you more. It's just you're someone who's supportive, you give good advice, and you're there to listen. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have anyone else to listen to them, but that's not indicative of their feelings deepening for you, right? So the kind of thing with this is you have to be careful, because like, dude, I've seen this play out so many times with people, because it's like, I don't know, you would think that if a person isn't direct in saying something, it's like, I don't know. I feel like twin flames have screwed everyone up. Let me just say that, because it reminds me very much of all the stuff with the twin flame dynamic where people were rationalizing people's behavior, where it's like, because if he really didn't care, like, I know we're not like committed, but he's not committing to me because of XYZ, like, because his baby mama's crazy, or, his ex-wife's crazy. So like, we can't be in an official commitment, but clearly he must love and care about me because he did XYZ. A person who doesn't love and care about you wouldn't do that, right? And the truth is, yeah, they would. You know what I'm saying? A person who doesn't give two shits and a fuck about you would call you, you know what I'm saying? And, snot cry to you or vent to you or whatever, because you're a receptacle for whatever it is that they're spewing out. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you think about, I don't know why this is coming to me, it's such a horrible thing, but I'm thinking about like peeing, right? Like when you have to pee really bad, you're indiscriminate of what toilet you pee in. You just need a toilet to pee in. You don't care who it belongs to. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about where it was built, how long it's been there. It's just an object for you to use for a purpose. And once like you fulfilled your purpose of emptying your bladder, you move on with your life and probably never think about the toilet again. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how a person like this behaves with objectifying people. But I know it's like horrible to think that there's human beings who do that with other human beings, but I can tell you that human beings do that with other human beings. Like sometimes other humans are just a means to an end. You know what I mean? And I was literally thinking about that the other day. It was something I was watching on YouTube, and I was like, it was like a funny kind of thing, I guess, where the guy was like talking about like sleeping with a girl the night before, and like when you wake up, like the chick's still there, and was like, oh, like, how about we go get like breakfast? And he's like, your Uber, he's like, you should have left in an Uber 20 minutes ago. All right. And he like, kicks the chick out or whatever. And I was so mortified by that. But I was like, that's a real reality, because the thought is it was a means to an end. Dude was out the night before, got a little tipsy, wanted to smash something. You were available. He smashed you. He wakes up sober. And it's like, why are you here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, go, right? It's like, I have things I want to do today, and I don't want to do those things with you. So it's like the person now becomes an inconvenience, and that's very much objectifying a person. But we have to think about the fact of when we put ourselves in a position to be objectified. You feel what I'm saying? So all of this to me, Aquarius, is a big, huge warning. I feel you could be set up for the okie doke because of the fact that, they see you as a person that's like an emotional support system, but I don't really feel that they have any desire to reciprocate with that. Even if I were to look at this Six of Cups in the reverse differently, like seeing this Six of Pentacles, it's a tangible, back and forth thing that you guys have going on. But if I were to look at this Six of Pentacles, since all of this is a projection anyway, if I were to see the Six of Cups in the reverse in that construct, it's like there's not a desire to invest emotionally. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no desire to do that. The why would literally be with this Ten of Swords in the reverse is speaking about whatever it is that hurt them, gutted them, and they're not over that. They're still very much hanging on to that. So it would never be an emotional reciprocity with this person. So they're, what they would be drawn to is with someone who's on that same wavelength. But like I said, there is the potential that Aquarius could be on that same wavelength, some of you. But others of you, I feel this is just a self-protection mechanism that's preventing you from getting hurt. And this is just kind of like a heads up, because with this particular person, you very well could end up being hurt. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead. All of these readings have been 30 minutes. It is insane. I don't know what is going on in America. I stay gone for half of a month. I come back, all my readings are 30 minutes. So I'm going to throw these zodiac dice to see if, your person's sign comes up. We have Leo and what is that? Is that Capricorn? Yeah. We have Capricorn and Leo. And I think Leo, I did Leo right before you guys, right? Yes, I did. I did Leo right before you guys. If you have that in your chart, or your person of interest does, I would definitely go check that out, because there's a lot of things here that are very reminiscent of Leo. So definitely check that out. But anywho, my beautiful humans, that has been your connection session for July. Most certainly, let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later.